Hi, thank you for coming to Nidra. I'm Greta, if we hadn't already met. This is Jonathan. And my cat, Apollo, may or may not make an appearance in the frame. Yeah, he's watching us right now, real serious. So Yoga Nidra, I think a lot of us are very familiar with the practice of Yoga Nidra. It's a practice of pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses. And it's also a walk through the kosha theory, starting at the physical outermost layer, and then moving its way into the most subtle interior aspect of yourself. And we format this class with 25 minutes of yin, and then we take like a little break in case you need water or have to run to the restroom. And then we start with the Nidra, which is a guided meditation. And I'm pretty sure you've all practiced Yoga Nidra before, but just in case, a little refresher on sankalpa, which is a present tense intention, or you could think of it as an incisive resolve. And we always state it in the present tense like it already exists. So then you can look to attract it into your life and make decisions in accordance with the intention that you set. And oftentimes we use I am or I have statements. And there's a whole gamut of things you can really have your intention be for anything. It can be very energetic. It could be a quality you're trying to cultivate. It could also be something materialistic, like that's valid. Sometimes it helps to question why and kind of peel back the layers, see what you're really trying to attract into your life. And you have the whole Nidra portion, or not the whole Nidra, the whole yin portion to kind of think about what you want your sankalpa to be. I always like to mention it early though, because when we set our sankalpa, it's very at the beginning of the meditation. And I don't want to just throw it at you all of a sudden at the beginning of the meditation. So yeah, let's find a comfortable seat and shut the eyes down. And really feel the points of contact between your body meeting the ground. And then also that uplifting sensation of the spine springing up. You can relax the shoulders. And we'll take a couple clearing breaths and one Om. Inhale in through the nose. And exhale, HA, release out of the mouth. Inhale in through the nose. And exhale, let the breath go. This time, prepare for one Om. Inhale in. And exhale, release. Let the breath go. And flutter the eyes open. And we'll go ahead and start class today in Balasana, child's pose. And there's a lot of different ways you can take this posture. Really the intention here is arrival and grounding. We will be here for some time though. So knowing that, you can always start in Supta Baddha Konasana on your back. But for child's pose, arms out long in front of you. They can also be at your sides. Knees can be extended. Knees can also be together. Forehead to the mat. You can always grab a pillow or something to put under the forehead if that feels more inviting in your practice today. And taking a few moments to acknowledge transition into this practice. I know we've spent a lot of times in this space that we've been dwelling in. And so there tends to be a lot of distraction in a home practice. At least I've found there's noises, buses, either potential roommates or significant others, animals. So just knowing that's part of the practice. And if something like that does come up for you, it's an opportunity to challenge yourself to come back to the practice of listening and awareness and centering yourself in the practice. And I'll talk about yin right now for this yin portion of class. Yin energetically is the opposite of yang or yang. And neither of these energies are absolute. They're very much in relative to each other. You can think of the yin and the yang symbol. And so yang is going to be motion, it's energetic, it's solar, it's brightness. And Yin is going to be darkness and receptivity, more of a practice of yielding and allowing, and even passivity. I think sometimes I hear the word passive and I resist that, but it's okay to allow yourself the space just to be still and tap into your intuition for this hour. And in terms of anatomy and physiology, you're stressing and compressing the connective tissue and the ligaments and the bones and the joints, especially in the weight-bearing parts of our body. And you can think of fascia as if you peeled back an orange, the orange, that outer layer would be your skin, and the white part is the fuzzy part. That's the connective tissue and the fascia. And it's largely made of water, so it's actually really good to drink water after a yin practice. And we can't access these connective tissues, bones, joints through stretching. Of course, we wouldn't even want to do it that way. So they have to be accessed through the long holds and the compressing of the connective tissues and bones, joints. And there are three truths to this practice, 3 tattvas. And the first is to find your gentle edge. And you've already found your gentle edge. It may be farther or less far when you go in a more yang practice, a vinyasa style practice. And the number one thing here is you want to be able to sustain it, to hold it for time. So it's very much linked to the last tattva. You could really say them in any order. And the second is to be still. And being still is such a challenge. But know if you have like an itch or a scratch, or you just have a inkling to move, try to give that 5 breaths first. And after the 5 breaths, if you're still dying to itch the scratch. But oftentimes it will recede after those 5 breaths. And there are 2 reasons in which you'd move in this practice. And the first is if you're in any pain. We never want you experiencing any pain, any sharpness, any electrical current, stabbing sensations, even any tingling of the nerves. And if you are experiencing any of those things, you can grab a pillow or a couch cushion or maybe a blanket, a towel, another yoga mat, and see if you can use those props to adjust how you're practicing the posture, so getting at the intention. And the other reason you'd move, and it might be right around now, where you are invited to go deeper. If your edge recedes, follow your edge. And then lastly, it's to hold for time. And I keep track of time on my phone. And with the exception of this posture, because I'm really talking all about the yin, I give a halfway mark and a final minute. And usually this kind of just helps ease the mind. It allows you to just surrender into the experience. You don't have to worry about the longevity of the hold, and gives you an idea of how long it's going to be going on. And I believe that is enough about yin. This isn't a traditional yin practice because it's a very short class, so we won't have time for a million holds. And not that there's time for that many holds in a regular yin class anyway. And I guess the only other things that I'll say is treat yourself and this space with kindness, compassion. Try to approach it with curiosity. And also, when you do come up out of the long holds, it may feel like you have fast forwarded, make 70 years into the future. That is totally normal. That is a part of the practice. You might feel really creaky. Your joints are going to bounce back very quickly, and that is absolutely a part of this practice. You may want to groan. That is, hey, you're muted. Do it. But gently over the next few breaths here, we'll meet in tabletop. And moving with intention, moving deliberately, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, the hips over the knees. And after a lot of compression in the legs like that, it may feel really great to kick one leg behind you, the other leg, or whatever natural organic movement that your body is craving. That's what you should be doing. Always listen to the body. It's going to have the best answers. And we'll flow through a few rounds of cat and cow. Just wake up the spine. Inhale, cow pose, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale, cat, press the palms into the mat, tuck, round, and dome. Inhale, cow pose. Tail up, chin up, gaze up. And exhale, cat, press, round, dome and tuck. And go ahead and flow the next few rounds your own breath to movement, taking any additional movement the body might be asking for. It never has to look like you've seen a yoga pose. And then coming back to spinal neutrality. Inhale, tuck under your toes. And exhale, come back to downward facing dog. And we're going to get into half pigeon this way. So inhale, right leg lifts, reach, extend the right leg behind you. And exhale, half pigeon. Right knee comes behind the right wrist. And option to always take this figure 4 on your back. You can interweave the fingers behind the thigh. And trying to distribute the weight evenly in the hips. And you can slowly, you probably already walked the torso forward, forearms forward. And this is going to be a longer hold than you'd likely practice in a vinyasa class. So maybe not going quite as deep into the posture as is your range of motion. We'll be here for 4 minutes on each side. And always a good option to have a block or a book or something under the right glute muscles that helps you feel more stable and grounded in your practice. And traditionally in yin, it's practiced in silence. So I'm not going to talk too much during the yin portion of our practice, but I did want to share a little a poem, and it's actually in the very beginning of the Yoga Nidra book with the blue cover by Swami Saraswati Satyananda. And it goes, Yoga Nidra, the blissful relaxation. Most people sleep without resolving their tensions. This is termed Nidra. Nidra means sleep, no matter what or why. But Yoga Nidra means sleep after throwing off the burdens. It is of a blissful higher quality altogether. When awareness is separate and distinct from the vrittis, the fluctuations in the mind, when waking, dream, and deep sleep pass like clouds, yet awareness of Atma remains, the true innermost self. This is the experience of total relaxation. Relaxation does not mean sleep. Relaxation means to be blissfully happy and has no end. I call bliss absolute relaxation. Sleep is a different matter. Sleep gives only mind and sense relaxation. Bliss relaxes the Atma, the inner self. That is why in Tantra, Yoga Nidra is the doorway to Samadhi. And Samadhi is the 8th limb on the Eightfold Path. I like to think of Samadhi as absorption. And Yoga Nidra is actually in the Tantra lineage. Yeah, and we are at exactly halfway. Final minute. Slowly press the palms into the mat. Activate your arms, tuck under the back toe, engage the back leg, and come into downward facing dog in your own way and time. And if you want a scorpion dog or bend one knee, the other knee, taking any good natural counter movement to that posture. And we'll go ahead and work onto the left side. Inhale, left leg lifts, reach, extend, left leg behind. And exhale, half pigeon on the left. This time bringing left knee behind left wrist. Taking a moment to assess the hips, leveling them. Find a sense of neutrality. And walk the forearms forward. And bring the forehead to meet a block, to meet the floor. And the hips, there's a lot of muscle in the hips. And I tend to find the ball and socket joints, so the shoulders and the hips, they have the greatest range of motion. I also think they hold the greatest depth of complexity and emotion in our bodies. And so with these long holds, just notice if anything comes up for you. And if it does, know that you're ready to meet it because it's coming up now. And just really being with it and maybe turning towards it with a sense of curiosity. And if the mind wanders, which it's likely to do, just go ahead and redirect it back towards the awareness and this experience, really giving yourself permission to have this practice. It doesn't have to be planning or thinking about the past or fantasizing. And we're at our halfway mark. And we're at our final minute. Compress the palms into the earth, into the ground. Walk them back. Lift the chest, tuck under the back toe, engage the back leg. And come into downward facing dog. Really relishing in the release of that posture. You can bend one knee, the other knee. One thing I found about my home practice, I have found that I make more sound effects, I emote more out of my mouth. So if you want to groan, let it out. You're more than welcome to do so. And come down to a seat. Let the hips fall to one side. And then lie on your back for banana asana. We're going to practice banana asana on both sides. And banana asana is practiced with the pelvis totally flat, the neck totally on the ground, head on the ground, torso on the ground. And we make a crescent shape or a banana shape with our bodies. So keeping the pelvis right where it is, you can go ahead and walk the feet very slightly towards the right, inch by inch. And then you can move the torso towards the right, ever so slightly. And it might feel interesting to pick one leg and put it on top of the ankle. So on this side, the left leg on top of the right. I had one person say once they liked the other way. So if that's you, you are more than welcome to do that. And then arms up overhead, kind of creating a box around the head, or it can be a little more lax, more of a diamond shape. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. We're going to practice this for 4 minutes on each side. I guess the only thing I'll say is usually, for me at least in my practice, around 3 minutes in, my arms start to fall asleep. And sometimes it helps if you just bring the arms on the forehead, or you can also bring the arms to rest down at your sides if you don't want them to fall asleep. And I learned this little tidbit from Bernie Clark. He has videos on all the yin postures online, which is pretty cool. And he breaks them down. And I learned, I always, this is gonna reveal my ignorance, but I thought the IT band was a muscle. And the IT band is actually a really thick ligament. And when you have that desire to stretch the IT band, I think that's something we often hear kind of tossed around. It's actually the muscles connected to the ligament of the IT band, and also at the tip, very tip of our hip, so the iliac crest. So it's going to be like the internal and external obliques, the tensor fascia latae, even the glutes. And so those are the muscles we're getting into in this stretch and compression through the side body. And we're at the halfway point. And this would be a good time to start thinking about what you would like your sankalpa to be for practice. Notice if you're getting any messages from your body. It may have changed from what you thought you were going to have it be at the beginning of practice. And also know there are many nidras to be had. So it doesn't have to be a glorious, life-changing sankalpa, although it could be. Final minute. You can slowly inchworm the legs back towards center. It might feel good to unbind them first. And you might want to bounce out the legs for a sec, or maybe take some shoulder rolls. Bring the arms down at your sides and then back up. And then we'll go ahead and work onto the left side. So keeping the pelvis really rooted in the center, and then scooting the legs towards the left, inching them towards the left. You can always cross the right leg up and over the left. I like to think of it as like a hammock pose. And arms can come up overhead, or if they're kind of tingly, you can keep them down at your sides. You're still going to access that same sensation in the side of your body. And for the Yoga Nidra portion of class, it's a practice of the koshas, so going through these sheaths or layers of self. The outermost layer is Annamaya kosha, so anything tactile, physical that you can take in with the senses. And then the next layer in is Pranamaya kosha. And prana is vital life force energy. It's our breath. It's the interplay we have with the plants and their photosynthesis. And it really is more than the breath. And then the third layer in is Mana Maya Kosha, and Mana is the mind sheath. And so the ego is there, the samskaras, our thought patterns or loops. Vritti is the fluctuations of the mind, they're there. And then we arrive at Vijnana Maya Kosha, which is the wisdom body. So it's that place where we practice discernment, and when we can take a step back and look and just perceive and notice what's going on in the mind. And then Ananda is bliss. So Ananda Maya Kosha is the innermost layer. And definitely the most subtle and nebulous, and I think also difficult to grasp in terms of what you're talking about, because I think it's more of a felt experience. But also not really setting an expectation for this moment of bliss or something like grandiose. I don't know. Sometimes I struggle with the word bliss. So more of a samadhi, more of a moment of absorption and kind of eternal moment. We're 15 seconds past the halfway mark. And the reason I mention this is because there is this book by Swami Saraswati Satyananda, and he has so many good scripts in it. But a few months back, I also wrote my own script, and I haven't been using it just because I had practiced the other one so many times, and I was used to the cadence and the rhythm of that script. But I felt tonight like doing the other one. So this, if you notice, is going to just be a little bit different. It's still very much the practice of Yoga Nidra. Still absolutely the same system of withdrawal of senses, the sankalpa, and it's very much inspired by the Swami himself. That was just a little extra information there. And we're at our final minute. You can unthread the legs, uncross the feet, and slowly make your way back towards center. It might feel good to hug the knees in towards your chest, roll around on that flat part of your back, the sacrum. may feel good to windshield wiper the legs right to left. And yeah, we are going to get ourselves into a twist next. And so extend the left leg out long. Let it kind of just relax and hug the right knee in towards your chest. Giving it a squeeze, feeling the compression there, knee towards armpit. You can roll the ankle clockwise, counterclockwise. And then with the left arm, go ahead and guide the right leg over towards the left. And the right arm can go out like half of a T. Your gaze can follow the hand. But if that is going to cause strain in your neck, there's no need to look that direction. You can always look up too. Really, the intention here is to feel a release of tension and relaxation. So maybe targeting the jaw, letting that slacken. Maybe it's the belly, the shoulders. Noticing where you might hold habitual tension and letting that dissipate, dissolve. I've kind of been liking like a flicking motion, like kind of flick it off you. And we'll be here for 2 minutes on each side before we head into our Nidra practice. Halfway mark and final minute. And if you hadn't settled on a sankalpa, now would be a good time to find that present tense intention. And slowly make your way back towards center. You can hug the right knee in one more time before you send it out long. And then send the right leg out long. And this time hug the left knee in towards your chest. Feeling the compression on this side. You can roll the ankle right and left. Feels interesting. And then go ahead and guide the leg towards the right. Right leg or left leg with the right arm. And finding that same amount of relaxation on this side, just as like you did on the other side. The tension has built, let it fall away. Relaxing the jaw. And halfway, final minute. And rotate the body back towards center. And hug the knees in towards your chest in a cannonball Appanasana shape. And you can either rock and roll up to all fours or come to one side. And we will break right here. So this would be a good time to grab blanket, or if you have an eye pillow, or just a pillow to lounge on, or a pet that you're going to cuddle with for the next 20 minutes, whatever you need, water. We'll start, let's try to be back here. My phone says 8:10, so let's say 8:13, and we will practice the Nidra. I'm going to grab the laptop. It was at 20%. Okay, go ahead and get comfortable, get situated. That's the main thing, is to be comfortable. Traditionally, yoga is practiced in Shavasana on the back. But if you prefer to practice in a seat, like, that is totally okay. All right. And get any little last minute fidgets out. Yoga Nidra is practiced in total stillness. In dreams, you have no control, but in Yoga Nidra, you create the dream. The body sleeps, but the mind remains awake. Just keep your mind moving from one point to the next and be aware of every experience. Do not concentrate on any one point. Let the natural flow of awareness take the mind deeper into the self. Give yourself some time to become calm and still. Take a deep breath, and as you breathe in, feel calmness spreading throughout the whole body. And as you breathe out, say to yourself, I'm going to practice Yoga Nidra, and I will remain awake. Welcome a sense of relaxation into your physical body, becoming perfectly calm and still. Feel your feet relax, your legs, your torso, shoulders, arms, hands, all relax. So let your head be heavy and release any tension you might be holding in your face. Feel your natural breath, the rise and fall of your belly as your body breathes in and out. Yoga Nidra begins now. Now is the time to set your sankalpa, your resolve. Please state your resolve clearly with feeling and emphasis. 3 times. Imagine percolating vibrant energy touching the palm of your right hand. You are holding this orb of energy in the palm of your right hand. It touches the skin on the palm of your hand and feels each wrinkle and crevice on the surface of your skin. Invite more energy in so the sphere grows ever so slightly. Move this energetic sensation as I lift different parts of your body. Notice each surface it touches, the texture, the temperature, and the quality of the sensation. Follow along and move fluidly from one part to the next, never lingering over one specific part. A practice always begins with the right hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, tips of the fingers, the space between the tips of your fingers and the first knuckle, the space between the first knuckle and the second knuckle, the longest bones in your fingers, the very top of your hand, the perimeter of your hand. Trace the wrinkles and lines with your awareness. Feel the surface of the entire palm. Notice the skin on the back of your hand, wrist. Trace the circumference of your wrist, lower arm, elbow joint, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, right chest, right collarbone, waist, hip point, hip bone, the right adductor muscles, top of the right thigh, bottom of the right thigh, knee, lower leg, shin, calf muscle, ankle, heel, arch of the foot, each of the 5 toes in your right foot, starting with the farthest most tip, the middle of the toes, the place where your toes meet your feet, the top of your foot. Feel the bones and muscles that touch the skin on the top of your foot. And send your awareness to the left side now. Left hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, tips of the fingers, the space between the tips of the fingers and the first knuckle, the space between the first knuckle and the second knuckle, the longest bones in your fingers, the top of your hand, the perimeter of your hand. Trace the wrinkles and lines with your awareness. Feel the surface of the entire palm. Notice the skin on the back of your hand, wrist. Trace the circumference of your wrist, lower arm, elbow joint, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, left chest, left collarbone, waist, hip point, hip bone, left adductor muscle, top of the thigh, bottom of the thigh, knee, lower leg, shin, calf, ankle, heel, arch of the foot, each of the 5 toes in your left foot, starting with the farthest most tip, the middle of the toes, the place where your toes meet your feet, the top of your foot. Feel the bones and the muscles that touch the skin on the top of your foot. Now send the awareness to the frontal plane or coronal plane. This plane is a vertical slice in half, running top to bottom, creating a front and a back, figuratively slicing the body in half, creating an anterior and a posterior. Now go to the front of the body. Go to the top of the head. Feel the roots of your hair, the top of your forehead, right temple, left temple, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, the space between your eyebrows, right eyelid, left eyelid, the meeting point between the eyelids, right eye, left eye, right ear, right cochlea. The cochlea is a spiral cavity in the inner ear, which produces nerve impulses in resonance in response to sound vibrations. Left ear, left cochlea, right cheek, left cheek, nose, tip of the nose, right nostril, left nostril, upper lip, lower lip, the meeting point between the lips, chin, jaw, throat, top of the chest, middle of the chest, heart, sternum, rib cage, soft part of the belly, the entire pelvic girdle and pelvic floor, top of the legs, top of the feet, tips of the toes. Now send your awareness to the back, the posterior side of the coronal plane, back of the body, pads of the toes, heels, belly of the muscles in the lower leg, behind the knee, flesh and muscle on the back part of your legs, right gluteal muscles, left gluteal muscles, perineum, the lower lumbar spine, the middle thoracic spine, the neck, cervical spine, base of the skull, top of the skull. Now the major parts of the body, whole of the right leg, whole of the left leg, both legs together, whole of the right arm, whole of the left arm, both arms together, whole of the back together, whole of the front together, the whole body together. No sleeping, please. Now bring your awareness to the breath. Draw your attention to the natural breath. Feel fresh oxygen enter through the nostrils and then leave as CO2. With each inhale, feel your chest, diaphragm, and belly rise. And with each exhale, let the belly slowly deflate. You're going to practice a form of samavriti, equal fluctuations. The inhales and exhales will be held for the same length of time. Mindfulness directed at the breath. Let's begin. Inhale, drag the breath in. Exhale, let the breath recede out. Inhale, fill up, let the belly rise. Exhale, release, let the breath fade away. Inhale, lengthen, expand, elongate. Exhale, deflate, concave, empty. Now we'll start to count. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Continue breathing at your own pace. Feel free to shorten or lengthen the count. Let your awareness fixate on the numbers or description. Focus solely on breathing, measuring, repeating. No sleeping, please. Now awaken the feeling of heaviness in your body. Concentrate on your spinal cord and imagine it melting into the floor. Imagine the air in the room is water and your body is an anchor sinking into the water's depths. Invite this experience of extreme heaviness into your entire body. Next, reverse the feeling. Feel the body becoming lighter and lighter and lighter. Imagine the whole body is floating like a small boat. Recall the lightness of a feather and try to recreate that complete weightlessness in your own body. Visualize your whole body so light it could drift all the way up to the ceiling. Now awaken the feeling of being closed off. Imagine all your emotions and thoughts locked up. Feel the density and solidness of your body. Visualize your body as a constrictive vessel, a limiting container. Recall a closed door slam shut, solidly locking in front of you. Reverse. The door unlocks and flings open. Imagine spaciousness, life in motion. Experience freedom of thought. Allow your emotions to flow freely. Recall the expansiveness of the universe, the ether. Try to recreate that complete openness in your own body. Observe thoughts as they come and go through the frame of your consciousness. Draw your attention to a single thought. Choose one, don't overthink it. Do not attach or identify with the thought, but remain fully aware that it exists. Now let that thought slip away like you'd close a window in an internet browser. Hit the X. Shift your focus. Concentrate on your beliefs and values, the systems and cycles you intentionally and sometimes unknowingly are absorbed in. Pick one of those beliefs. Take a moment and choose just one. And it doesn't have to be grandiose or radical, but make an executive decision, choose a belief, and stick with it. Now ask yourself where you learned this specific belief. Find its origin, if you decided it, and if so, if it still resonates with you. Or if someone else taught you this belief, do you still wish to oblige by it? And perhaps you do. Perhaps it is such a valuable nugget of wisdom. Or perhaps you don't. Perhaps this very belief is limiting your capacity to forge ahead successfully. Now choose another belief. Find its origin. And does it still serve you? Mire through thoughts, beliefs, and expand your field of awareness around them. Notice what's there, suspending any judgments or self-criticisms. Feel free to make changes where beliefs are outdated or celebrate when they are in alignment with the truest version of yourself. Withdraw your mind and please bring your awareness to Chitta Kasha. This is the dark space you see behind your closed eyes. Become aware of this space. Notice if any shapes, colors, or patterns transpire. maintaining a state of complete, detached awareness. And bring your attention to the present and make sure that you are not sleeping. No sleeping, please. I'm going to name a few objects, and you should try to visualize them on the levels of feeling, awareness, emotion, and imagination as best you can. The practice of visualization develops self-awareness and relaxes the mind. You should move as fast as I go, jumping your mind from one object to the next. Do not concentrate on any one image, but just keep moving along with the practice. Lily pad. Tiny pink flowers like lanterns. Dewdrops. Ripples on a lake. Waves crashing. Chameleon. Hourglass. Rosebud. Applesauce. Lincoln logs. Glittery tile. Clamshell. Engraved silver money clip with a $50 bill. Vapor. Turtle shell. Steam engine. Hoverboard. Jigsaw puzzle. Ripped jeans. Fibers. Lifeguard tower. Doppler radar. Pastry bag. Zipper. Lamb's wool. I'm now going to list a few objects to invoke certain sounds. Hear them on the levels of feeling, imagination, vibration, and tone as best you can. Old muffler, spring breeze, soda can opening, hands rubbing together, cannonball splash, videotape rewinding, teeth chattering, fire crackling, gust of wind, erupting volcano, dial-up, tea kettle, cat purring, an empty room, the sound of forest leaves rustling. Imagine you are standing in front of 3 separate paths headed in different directions. These paths represent past, present, and future self. The first path you walk down will be as a child. Don the eyes and awareness of a child. Notice your soft skin and what it's like to observe the forest path from down low. Take in the soft blades of grass, tiny mushrooms, fern tips curling in, crunchy fallen leaves, fresh spring daisies and dandelions. Notice how you feel as a child. Invite in fearlessness, insatiable curiosity, and playfulness. Continue as the child version of yourself walking down this forest path. The air wisps by your ears. It whispers to extend your fingertips at your sides and to try and feel the presence of the trees around you. As a child, you don't question it, you just do it. You want to experience that. You shut your eyes and try to do as the wind has suggested. The tips of your fingers tingle as you continue walking through the forest. Continue. You arrive back where you started. Look to your right, and there you see yourself as the oldest version of yourself. Child you walks towards elderly you and touches your hand. The skin on the elderly hand feels thin. There's bumps and lots of wrinkles. Now imagine embodying this much older self. Notice how your body has changed, the curvature, how your hair has changed. But also notice the wisdom you've garnered over the years. Admire the moments that made you feel strong, when you persevered, moments that brought you joy, moments you connected with others. Look at the child standing next to you. Tell them anything they might wish to hear. Share any wisdom that you have accumulated through your years of experience. Now, as the oldest version of yourself, imagine walking down the third path. You are outside in a forest with great giant trees and vines. Flatten the palm of your hand out in front of you. A pearl appears hovering above your hand, and the pearl is the size of a quarter. As you walk through the woods, you notice the colors in the sky start to change from blue to a sunset. As you walk down this path, you bring the sunset with you. Pinks and blues, soft yellows. Little fluffy clouds ebb in and out of the colors. Watch the colors change amongst the trees as you walk. And let that little pearl in the palm of your hand hover and float up into the sky as it nestles in the sky as the moon. Continue. Your very old self arrives back to where you started. You greet the child self you, who's been patiently waiting. The two bodies connect. Vessels and containers, their hair, nerves, limbs turn into electrical currents. The two figures wire together, bind together, because of course they are the same essence, the same self. They are you, and now you are you, in your present day body. Notice if there are any messages to be downloaded from past or future self. Notice if there's anything you want to tell either of them. In your present day body, walk down the middle path through the forest. Notice the kind of forest you're in, the wildlife that are present, the kind of colors and plants that are there. Smell the fresh scent of flowers, spruce tips, earth. Feel their texture. It starts to rain, but you remain dry. Notice the raindrops collecting on the leaves, pooling in the center of some plants. Listen to soft raindrops as they pitter-patter. Watch droplets fall to the earth. Continue. You arrive in a clearing. There is a creek running through the clearing. Lay down next to the creek. Feel the soft earth beneath you. Feel where your body connects to the ground. Notice the weight of your body, the interplay between you and gravity, how it draws you closer to the center of the earth. Listen to the water rush by you. Let your emotions flow over you as well, not attaching to them or identifying with them, but let them exist as they rush over you. Feel the movement of the water spill over you. This nurturing force brings a sweet taste to your mouth. This water has been around for centuries. It has developed a strong connection to others and to empathy. Take ownership over empathy. Shift your focus to heat emanating from the sun, solar combustions, and feel a wand at your side. It is a source you can draw strength of will and assertiveness from. Now shift your attention to the air sweeping around you, rippling your clothes, sending shivers up and down your spine. Feel fresh air enter through your nostrils, fill up your lungs. Find a sense of equanimity as you draw in fresh oxygen and then release it back out. Notice how the breath unites us with nature. The cyclical process of the breath binds us together with the trees and plant life. Lastly, shift your awareness to the ether. Take in any sounds from the forest, different waveforms vibrating at different and various frequencies. Tap into their resonance, gaining power and depth through your focus. Amplify the sound as you see fit. With closed eyes, see the light leading through your eyelids and center on third eye. This is the seat of imagination, intuition, vision, and clarity. Imagine the planet Neptune and its deep blue color created by particles of icy methane and gases in the extremities of its atmosphere. Visualize Jupiter. Imagine its great red spot, a giant storm bigger than the Earth that has raged for hundreds of years. Imagine Jupiter's dozens of moons and very faint dust rings. Now imagine a great void, a full moon, diamonds, a gold crown. Feel the top of your head, associated with consciousness and also understanding. Run your awareness up and down your spine. Repeat your sankalpa 3 more times here with feeling and emphasis. Return back to your body, grounded in this experience. Develop your awareness of the room. Without opening your eyes, visualize the walls, the ceiling, familiar objects, the floor, and your body lying comfortably on the floor in perfect stillness. Notice your physical body. Are there any sensations that grab your attention? The body is always changing. It is not the same body you had as a child. It is not the same body you walked in yesterday. You are not this body. You are the awareness of this body. Now notice your mood, how you feel. And you may have many emotions, but you are not these fleeting feelings. You are the awareness of each mood that passes. Next, notice your thoughts, the tone of your narrative. Know that you are not your thoughts, and you can choose to not identify with what the mind thinks. To know that the entire universe is a projection of our own being is to know that we create within ourselves the color and shape that all exists, of all that exists. You are the infinite witness to this moment. Yoga Nidra is complete. And you can invite subtle movements back into your fingers, back into your toes, little micro movements, any bouncing or wiggling that feels intuitive and necessary. And extend the arms above you like you would stretching in the morning. And hug the knees towards your chest. And choose if you'd like to roll over onto the right or the left side. Right for more solar energy and left for more lunar. And using the bicep like a pillow. And extending a wave of gratitude to yourself for practicing creative visualization, strengthening the imagination, and for planting the seeds of your intention into your subconscious. Always a wave of gratitude to the teachers in the lineage of this practice, going all the way back to India, the teachers who taught me, who I'm then able to share this wisdom with you, and also your teachers, your experiences. They come in so many different forms. And honoring the bravery and courageousness it takes to do a practice like this, examining the interior self and sometimes diving into the shadow work of what's going on, knowing that is brave and powerful work. You can gently press yourself up to a seat and keep the eyes closed if that feels safe to you. And we'll meet with hands at heart center in the Anjali Mudra, which is a gesture that represents non-dualism, where oppositional forces meet together at the heart. And bringing hands from heart center to third eye, strengthening connection between the wisdom of your heart and the intuition of the third eye in the mind. And bowing forward to seal in the practice, honoring the whole self, both the shadow parts and the bright parts. Thank you. Peace. Namaste. Thank you so much, posers. I appreciate you coming to practice. Yoga Nidra is a totally weird and wild experience. So I always want to hear, like, if you have like questions, I'm going to put my email. It's the same as my PayPal in the chat box, or like any insights or shares. Thank you for being here. Super appreciated. And I hope to see you in practice all very soon. Posers has so many classes. I teach Vinyasa Tuesday, Thursday at noon. I'll be at Nidra on Sundays here practicing because I love to practice Nidra. Thank you, Jonathan. And my cat was such a good boy, didn't do anything. I'm gonna go ahead and, well, you can unmute yourself since I didn't actually mute you. And if you want to seal class out with 3 ohms with me, that would be awesome. And we'll take find a comfortable seat and shut down the eyes. And we'll take a clearing breath and then do 3 ohms. Inhale in through the nose. And exhale HA out of the mouth. One more release. Inhale in through the nose. And exhale HA, let the breath go. This time prepare for 3 ohms. Inhale. Thank you so much. I'm going to drop my information in the chat box. And otherwise, thank you so much for being here. It was so good to see you, especially the beginning of class, seeing everyone that arrived. And yeah, I guess I'll be here until everyone exits. So let me know. Yeah, let me know if you need anything.